So let me take the opportunity to welcome all of you for today's session. Last week, we really had a very, very interesting time together, very interactive, and we hope to upscale the same today. I know Ben is joining us for the first time today, but we have discussed, and I've also shared some YouTube. So I trust all of us will be at the same page as we engage. We intend to cover at least 2 sessions today, and in between we'll have some breakout session just to discuss more on the discussions of the day as well as the book review. So I hope at least you have a few points that you can engage in your group pertaining the book review. But for now, let's just first of all pray, and then we'll continue. Let's pray. Father, we thank you and we appreciate for yet another opportunity to be able to engage as leaders. It's our prayer that will continue shaping us, molding us, and equipping us with knowledge, with skills, and also with a mindset that befits your mindset, oh God. That as we serve, Lord, we shall serve with a servant heart. We shall serve, Lord, for your glory. We pray as we discuss this day, may you guide our discussion, and we pray for an in-depth understanding and also transformation as we become better in our leadership experience. This we pray, trusting and believing in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So right away, we'll jump into our session. Then we'll keep on engaging. As usual, the chat is open. So if something comes out very clear, something comes out that you feel you really want to make it your takeaway today, feel free to share on the chat so that we can also be discussing along what is coming out as our key points. So I'll just move on, and then we'll keep on engaging as we continue. So as usual, we have our mindset as global leadership leaders, and we've said that when a leader becomes better, everyone else becomes better. Our environment and also at a personal level, we become better. Our mindset is to think global, lead local, and transform the world. And we are here as Global Leadership Network to equip leaders so that we can influence generations. So this is something that I would want us to keep on recasting. Every time that we are engaging together, we just think about this, that we're here to think global, lead local, and also transform the world. So as we go through the program, we'll keep on recasting this. And this is what I said, that even in a vision, we keep on recasting the vision so that people don't lose focus, and people also are able to be in line with the overall big picture, either of the organization or even an individual. And this is a practice that we do just to help us remain focused and internalize the concepts and the perspective of this masterclass. And in the same way that we encourage every leader to keep on recasting the vision. We said last time that vision leaks. So if we don't remind people, we might find they have lost focus, and probably they have started working for other objectives rather than the core objective of the organization. Now, we discuss the session today. We're looking at leadership development models. How do I grow as a leader? And what are some of the models that we can be able to benchmark with to help us become better leaders? As I had mentioned, it's very important to be proactive and intentional in our development so that we don't just grow on circumstance, but we grow on plan, we grow on intention, and that will make us be very strategic, even pertaining our personal development. So we'll keep on emphasizing that we really need to plan our personal growth or enhance the plan that you already have, and judicially execute the plan. And that's very important to ensure that we keep on becoming better as leaders. And at the same time, besides becoming better, we also help those that we are leading to become better. So let me just outline. We'll look at basically three, but I have intertwined this development model. And basically, we are saying development models are the areas that you need to focus on as a leader. So we look at the Iceberg competency development model. We'll also look at the 80-20 development model, not particularly for leadership. It applies across, but for now, we'll just discuss this in our context as leaders. And then we look at the third one, which is also part of the triangle success of a successful personal development plan. So it takes care of the knowledge, takes care of the attitude, and also takes care of the skills. So I'll briefly outline this, and then we'll look at it, how all of them are interconnected. But before that, there's this story about a ferry disaster in April 2014. This ferry disaster happened in South Korea. If you check it on internet, you will see Sewol ferry disaster of April 2014. And it happened that when this disaster happened, these are live, real image of what happened. Out of 446 passengers and crew, 304 died in that disaster. And this included about 250 students from a certain high school, as indicated there, and approximately 172 were able to be rescued from the disaster. So it's reported that as the passengers stayed in their cabins as instructed, the captain and his crew, they abandoned the ship. They abandoned the ship. So that is Lee, Cho, and the first and second mates were the first people to be rescued. Actually, the captain were the first people to be rescued. And so the passengers were left in the ship. And as the ship capsized, some passengers, they followed the announcement that was being broadcasted so that they could stay calm, even as the water still came in. You see, that's the live rescue mission. So most of the students, passengers obeyed the announcement. However, some passengers who disobeyed the announcement, they climbed to the top of the ship or jumped into the water. And those ones that took this risky action are the ones who were able to be rescued. But the rest, about 300 died. And I think this story, if you look at it from a leadership perspective, maybe there are quite a number of aspects that can come out. One, the story also indicates that this ship had gone through some modification. It wasn't actually in the proper shape as it was supposed to be. It had overloaded. Two, it had been the center of gravity had been shifted because of the modification. Three, it also indicated that the captain who was steering the ship that particular day was not the original captain. They had just brought in a captain to steer the ship for that particular journey. However, the passenger who was manning the ship, the original, had indicated some reservation. He wasn't very careful, very contented with the modification, and he had indicated that the ship is not in good shape. So he was hesitant, but since the owner had some business to do, he still insisted that the ship has to go and the journey has to continue. And then that is what a part of the reasons that resulted to what happened. And as some of you might have noted, in I think in 2017, the president of South Korea was found guilty Among the issues that were mentioned, this was one of the issues that she didn't manage well the situation, and that's why this calamity happened. So she was convicted, among other issues that were cited, and I understand she has been jailed for, I think, 30 years. So that was big news for a sitting president to be found guilty and also to be jailed. Really, it was a big issue. Probably, I don't know what comes to what comes across as we think about this story, and as we look at our leadership environment here in Kenya, and just looking at this case of South Korea, basically from the disaster and from what happened to the president, maybe we can pick one or two experiences that we can exchange as leaders in terms of leadership lessons from what we are discussing today. I'll just allow two, and then we'll embark on the session today. So if you can have just two people to just share their experience from this story. Either you can unmute and share, or if you feel still free to chat, just indicate on the chat. But let's just get your experience and as we move on. So whoever is ready, you can just unmute and share your experience and what comes out clearly from this story in terms of leadership.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
My name is David Makawe. I'm just speaking from this story, the issue of sacrificial leadership, a lot of sacrifice in leadership, because maybe the president was not directly involved in what happened, but at the end of the day, he is convicted and suffers a lot. And maybe somebody else did a mistake somewhere, but being the leader, you end up sacrificing.
Also, to add to what David has said, I think what I learned from this story is that the buck stops with the leader. If you are the one who is the leader, it doesn't matter who did what or what happened where or when, whether you are involved, whether you are aware or not, but the buck stops with the leader. So the leader is liable for everything, despite you having delegated or you as a leader, you should know literally everything that is happening, because the buck stops with you. That's what I think.
Yeah, true. Thank you so much. How about the captain? Okay, thank you. Today we are seeing Anyango. I don't know if that is Nolan.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome, Nolan.
No. Hello?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
That's that you're seeing as Anyango is Pamela.
Ah, Pamela. Good evening. Welcome,
Yes.
Pamela.
I'm using a gadget that is registered under Anyango.
Okay, that's okay.
Can I make my comment?
Yeah, you can proceed.
Yes, as a leader, from this story, I see that those who are under the leader, those who are being led, some of them have so much faith that if you give them the wrong instruction, they are ready to die thinking that they are following the right instruction. So in leadership, we have to be very careful about the type of we are told those who stayed in did not survive, and yet the leadership was supposed to be giving the right instructions.
Yeah, very true. How about maybe the captain? What's your view about the captain being rescued among the first people?
He did not exhibit very good leadership skills, according to me.
Yeah.
Because he knew how to get rescued he should have communicated the same to as many passengers as possible. That if you get up out of your cabin, you will be seen and you'll be rescued.
Yeah, very true. Actually, they indicate that what messed up the rescue mission was the absence of the captain in the ship. So the moment the captain was walked out and I was rescued, that made the rescue mission very complicated, because now the captain, the leader, was not in the ship, and I was supposed to coordinate. So even the captain was also convicted, and I understand he committed suicide after that. So I think we'll just...
One more thing, Olive.
Yes, sir, David Macau.
Yeah, this guy was selfish, eh? And I just want to relate with that story, those who have watched Air Force One, eh? It was a movie. The president refused to be rescued. And he went ahead to rescue his people in that plane, eh?
Wow. Yeah, I think that's a flip, a positive flip of this story. And I think we can refresh our memory probably by taking another look at that movie from a leadership perspective. So this will inform and guide our discussion as we move on. So as we look at leadership development model, and I think the most important aspect that we can link with the story that we are discussing today is that skills alone are good, but not enough. Skills are good, but not enough. And as we grow ourselves as leaders, then we need to look at leading self. And this is where we have always started our discussions, that we can only become better leaders by engaging at the base level. The base level is how well I'm leading myself. So leading self, what we need to look at here is issues of developing personal mastery and authentic leadership. So self-awareness, that's key at the leading self. And you can achieve this by doing a 360 feedback process. This is where you look at the feedback from those who are above you, those who are you are supporting or they are below you, those who are on your side, like your peers, just to be able to get a clear self-awareness understanding. Then values, purpose, and core beliefs, they are very key at leading self. So we check on this. And then connection and articulation of personal vision. So at leading self, those are the key issues that we need to check and we need to relook as leaders. Then we move on to leading people. So at leading people, the most important here is to develop relationship, or what we call relationship mastery and interpersonal excellence. So collaboration. You remember the picture about the two teams, Team A and Team B, picking the fruits. So collaboration and partnership skills, which includes communication, influencing, conflict, are very important. Then there's the issue of emotional intelligence. Think about that picture that we looked at that towards the beginning. Managing people and developing their potential, and then constructive dialogue and feedback. So that's very key skills and also strategies when it comes to leading people. Then we move on upscale to leading the organization. So here the key is developing a high performance culture. So we have come from developing personal mastery and authentic leadership, moved on to developing relationship mastery and interpersonal excellence. Now here the key issue here is how do we develop a high performance culture? So visioning and strategy, leading change, fostering sustainable performance, building a culture of commitment and trust, and also systems thinking. So those are key at leading the organization. So this is a sort of a scaled development path from leading self to leading organization. So the first model that I indicated that we're going to look at is Iceberg leadership development model. Basically, we are saying the Iceberg, a ninth is what we see at the tip. And then there is at the base, we have the core part of the iceberg. And a ninth can represent the hard skills, the skills that are teachable and measurable, probably the technical or professional skills. For a captain, the story about that captain probably was very good when it came to issues of technical or professional skills. But now, again, we need to look at the soft skills, the traits that make you a good leader. That's the issues of communication, issues of listening, issues of emotional intelligence. And I think this is key if we relate to the story of the captain, and also social intelligence and integrity, because I think he didn't demonstrate integrity by moving out. That was lack of integrity in a way. So the soft skills are very critical because they form about 80 to 90% of the entire development cycle. So we are saying the iceberg represents the competency development on leadership as we bring it down to our own context. And up there we have the observable behaviors, practices, and the way we do things around, or the way we do things in terms of the technical abilities. But down, we still have the beliefs on the core, the 80 to 90%, the beliefs, the attitudes, values, philosophies, the why, the purpose. This is what forms the base. This is what actually sinks the ship, or this is what sinks a leader, because there are more weightier issues. That's why we find, and maybe you may share your own experience. There are incidents where you find people who are, some leaders who are technically very, very competent. But again, we find a little bit of challenges when it comes to issues of demonstrating good leadership. So that, I think, is something that we'll discuss more even today as we continue with this discussion. We are saying leadership is a function that requires the will to lead. The will forms the heart set, the knowledge, the skills, and also the sacrifice to lead, the trade-off. Like the captain had to make a trade-off. So he traded his life with the life of other people. Yeah, so he sacrificed the life of the others for his own life. And I think sacrifice is key here. I think this one, you can find them in the manual. We just check on the manual where we are. So if you have your manual ready, we can check on page 39. So there are some blank spaces there. Sorry, let me just get the correct page. Page 15. Leadership is a function that requires, so we have the will to lead, that the heart set, and also probably part of the mindset, then the knowledge, the skills, and there is an additional number 4 there, which is the sacrifice to lead. A leader must sacrifice. Remember the ladder, the team B, they had formed sort of a ladder, one leader or one person stepping on the shoulder of another until they got to get the fruits. So that was an element of leadership. So we're saying leadership will require a growth mindset. We require the heart set, that is the will to lead, and the skill set, that is the knowledge and the necessary skills. So I'll unpack this a little bit. And we are saying the skill set is about 20%, the tip of the iceberg. The base is what we are referring to as the heart set and the mindset, and also the attitude. So those are the qualities that form the 80% among the other qualities that you can see there. So 20% is good but limited information pertaining the skills, technically, or education or experience. That can be influenced more by the 80%. And the 80% is a personal essence, how I think as a leader, in terms of myself, in terms of the leadership, and in terms of the people that I'm leading, the motivation. What is my motivation for leadership? Why am I a leader? Why am I leading? So the social role, what is my social role? The issue of my perception, my beliefs about leadership, about people, because how I think about leadership and how I think about people is very important. It informs how I lead and how I treat the people that I am leading. So the motive or the cause for my leadership, my worldview about leadership, all these are the qualities that fall under the 80%. So, and we are saying if we bring this together with the success triangle for connecting it with the personal development, we are saying to be successful as a leader, I need to take care of the knowledge, I need to take care of the skills, and I need to take care of the attitude. And connecting this with the iceberg, we are saying the knowledge, the skills, they are at the tip. So they form about 20%, 10 to 20%. And then the attitude, it's on the core of the iceberg. And it forms those other qualities that are indicated there. So again, on the skills, we are talking about as a leader, probably there are issues of communication, which we have already mentioned. There are issues of interpersonal skills, which will continue to discuss more. The reasoning or the thinking, those are also part of the skills. And then there are those basic skills like time management and goal setting. And then on the attitude, there are issues of self-motivation, the issue of self-confidence, integrity, how honest I am as a leader, my optimism, enthusiasm, cooperative or collaboration, and also the mindset of commitment or the issues to do with commitment. So this is what informs the attitude. And then the knowledge, there are theories, like we'll be looking at theories of leadership, different theories. There are facts about leadership. There are learning models. There are, so all the theories, the basics and all this, we look at this, but basically the information that makes or builds our capacity in terms of the particular domain that we are exploring. So this gives us a picture of the three areas that we are looking at, connecting it with the iceberg model, and then we now bring it also in the context of what we refer to as the 80-20 leadership development model. There is a principle referred to as the Pareto principle, which states that for many outcomes, roughly probably 80% of consequences or 80% of the happenings come from 20% of the causes, the vital few. So there are those vital few causes that gives the most impact. I'll unpack this as we engage more. But 80% of our results always come from the 20% of the vital few. So there are those vital few, the few things that we do, or even the few things or the few people that we engage with that have probably the most impact on our lives. That's also another way of looking at this. So there's an author known as Carl Van. He talks about the attitude, ability, and the 80-20 rule in one of his books, The Making of Exceptional Performance. And he says that performance or leadership is 80% attitude toward leadership or toward the role of leadership, and then 20% the skills, the knowledge, or the experience. This can be skills in terms of professional skills, also in terms of the leadership skills. Again, so he says an individual performance is more closely linked to how they perceive and describe their job than what they know or what they can do. Just think about that statement. So we're saying that the performance of an individual is more closely, my performance is closely linked to how I perceive and describe my role, either as a leader or my role or as a profession, a practicing profession, or as a business person, whatever area that I'm engaging in. So that my perception and how I describe that role, then that has more impact than what I know or how I'm doing or what I can do based on my abilities. So in conclusion, we are saying that attitude directly impacts performance and satisfaction. Attitude directly impacts performance and satisfaction. So if my team or myself, then the attitude is not positive, or the attitude, the culture within the environment doesn't portray a good attitude, then eventually we end up having a negative impact on the performance and also a negative impact on job satisfaction. If you happen to have read the story about the 12th spy, I think that story really reinforces what we are discussing today from the Bible. The 12 spies, they all went, saw the same land, but they came back with the different stories. Some came with a very positive message, the two of them, but majority, 10 of them came with a negative story. But they saw the same thing. They met probably the same people, but the stories were different. So I think we can also relate with this as we discuss this more in our teams. So then we are saying leadership quality is 80% of personal essence from the Iceberg model. And that 80% is what I have highlighted there. And then the 20% is what we have described as the skill set. So for an effective leader, we need to prioritize 20% of the vital few in our effort on development of the skills or the knowledge or even the strength, the 20% of our strength that gives the most impact, the 80% of our effort. This is a rule that applies in so many areas. So I'll allow you to think of it from different angles, because it can apply from so many perspectives. As I'll just mention the other examples here where the rule apply. So effective leadership balance should have 20% effort that yields 80% impact or results. So this is in terms of the input and the output, or the effort and the effect. But again, when we look at it from the context of the skills, the context of competency development, we are saying I need to take care of the 20% of the skills, knowledge, and experience. But most importantly, I also need to take care of the 80%, which is the beliefs, the mindset, and those other issues that I've mentioned, the principles, the values, the integrity that forms the 80%. And again, we are saying from the flip, we need also to take care of those vital inputs or vital activities or vital, even the vital relationships that have the most impact in our lives. So the rule applies in other areas, as you can see on the other side of the screen. We are saying 20% of your effort gives 80% of your results. If I am aligned, if I'm aligned well, then 20% of my effort will always give 80% of results. But if there is a misalignment, then we might find we're having more effort, even in our leadership, more effort in trying to lead people, that we find the results are very low. So that is that's a message on itself. Either it is indicating probably there are some misalignment in terms of the skills development. Maybe we are having people who are more skilled, but when it comes to the base of the iceberg, they are less. So that's something that requires a check. So the real life examples of this principle, 20% of customers bring 80% of revenue. I know some of you are business professions. And then we are saying 80% of work is completed by 20% of the team. All of you are leaders, and probably we can also check on this. Is it true? And then 80% of complaints come from 20% of customers. 20% of marketing efforts gives 80% of results. And then 20% of content drives 80% of traffic. Think of other areas that this applies. And for leaders, we always encourage that every leader has his or her 20% of the leaders. So those 20% of your leaders are very important in terms of managing the 80% of your leaders or the 80% of your team, the entire congregation. During the COVID period, that is the message that we were sharing out with church leaders and also other leaders, that was the time, or this is the time to take care of our 20%, because we can't reach out to everyone. So we empower the 20%. My small circle of leaders, I empower them. They help me to be able to reach out because of social distance and many other reasons, and also burnout. So if we have empowered the 20%, the 20% will now be able to take care of the 80%. So there are so many angles that we can look at this role. Now, I have mentioned a little bit or quite intense about attitude, and I just want to conclude this lesson by mentioning something on the attitude. And basically, what is attitude? We're saying it's a set of emotions or even beliefs or behaviors, either toward myself or towards a person or even a thing. And it results from experience or upbringing, and powerfully can influence behavior. And attitude defines a person. Attitude defines personality. We might be skilled, we might be knowledgeable, but I think if we summarize the qualities or we summarize description of a person, we tend to look at it from maybe the attitude that person expresses. Maybe this, just note that we can also discuss that as we continue. Yeah. Winston Churchill said attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Little thing that makes a big difference. I think there are cases we have seen of leaders on high profile who were impacted by their attitude. Some of them even were sacked. If you can remember any of such a leader, I will encourage as we share. Any leader that you know, probably at a high level or even might not be at that high level, but because of their attitude, not because of their skills, because of their attitude, they were either they lost their job, they were interdicted, or something happened. There are a few that we've seen in Kenya. So I'll request that we just share. If you know any of such a leader, just share on the chat, and then we'll be able to discuss maybe one or two of those leaders. So please feel free to share on the chat. So there are basically about 3 types of attitudes. And you can see even from the picture there, positive attitude, negative attitude, and also there's a neutral attitude. Tony Robbins, The Psychology of a Winner, that's one of his books. He says success in life is 80% psychology. And I think of it also in terms of probably the attitude is included there, and 20% mechanics. So what you do does not matter if you are not in the right mindset or in the right attitude. And the difference between successful and unsuccessful people or leaders is majorly on the attitude or our thinking style, thinking behavior. And attitude is how I think about myself and how I think about others based on how it has been shaped from the experience, from the environment. Zig Ziglar puts it very well that your attitude, not your aptitude. Your aptitude now is the competence in terms of the skills, will determine your altitude. Will determine your altitude. I think we can single out that for our discussion. So positive attitude. Positive attitude is keeping a positive mindset and thinking about the greater good. So I'm thinking about the greater good no matter the situation or the circumstance. So a leader is a dealer of hope. A leader is a dealer of positivity, a dealer of optimism. I think the last picture that a leader may want to paint is a picture of negativity, is a picture of hopelessness. But in every scenario, we try always to try and look at the positive side of the story, just to be able to help people overcome the challenges. So positive attitude also is collaborative and also complementary, not competitive, but complementary. And such leaders are more resilient, and they are more confident, they are happier, they are sincere, and they're also determined. And someone said a positive attitude brings strength, energy, motivation, and initiative. You're able to make an action, to take an action. It drives us forward, not backward. It gives us the challenge to move forward rather than to stay still or even look back without a look on forward thinking. The negative attitude ignores the good things in life and only think about what or why things cannot work, and often is competitive and comparative. Now look at the difference here. It's competitive and comparative. For the positive attitude, we said is collaborative and complementary. So this kind of a leader is less resilient, can give up very easily, can get angry very easily, is double-minded, and also undergoes a lot of frustration. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. I think that's a good quote. I forgot to put the source there. We'll check the source. So that's the negative attitude and how it impacts our leadership. Then there is the neutral attitude. Such leaders, they have no doubt, neither any hope. Well, they're here and there. Generally tend to ignore problems in life, feels disconnected, and quite often they never feel the need to change themselves, as they can simply live with the way they are. Yeah, my attitude is based on how you treat me. That's a neutral attitude. So they have no doubt and they have no hope. They just here and there. Neutral attitude. And then finally, we have the second attitude. Demonstrate a negative state of mind, destroys the image of every element that reflects in the mind. Also, they are much more aggressive, negative attitude. It's a more aggressive negative attitude, and it's deep-rooted within one personality. The only disability in life, according to Scott Hamilton, is a bad attitude. So those are the four types of attitude. And we're saying that people may hear your words, but they feel your attitude. And true leadership, according to Miles Monroe, is an attitude that naturally inspires and motivates others. It comes from an internalized discovery about yourself. And attitude reflects leadership. Yeah, attitude reflects leadership. And leadership is practiced not so much in what we say, but in the attitude and the actions that we demonstrate as leaders. So in summary, I want to say this, that attitude defines a leader's personality. Generally, a leader's attitude will either be inspiring or depressing, or hopeful or discouraging. We're saying people in general prefer to stick around leaders with positive vibration. That's positive attitude, who motivate them in life. If you sit close to a positive leader, you'll want to spend more time with them because you feel inspired, you feel you can do more, you feel there is hope. Yeah, so bad or good attitude has the power to influence people's thoughts and behavior. So think about this leadership balance, just to climax what we have gone through, and the priority diagram. So we need to balance between the 20% skills, knowledge, attitude, and the 80% personal essence. And also we need to balance the 20% course, what can have more impact that results to 80% of our leadership success. So successful leaders, they embrace positive mental attitude, and the PMA is the catalyst for aptitude. It's what reinforces our skills. So if you have you're competent in skills, and again you reinforce your PMA, the positive mental attitude, or the 80% of the personal essence, then you really become a good leader. You excel because competent, you are well. In terms of competence, you are doing well, and also in terms of the personal essence, you're also doing well. So I'll pause there and just read out this leadership challenge for this lesson. We are saying, as leaders, identify and prioritize your 20% skills, knowledge, attitudes, and habits or strengths that leads to 80% effect, impact, influence, or inspiration. So select out the vital few. We always say, to do more, we need to do less. To do more, we need to do less. So the more we are able to narrow down to the vital few, then we are able to focus more on the impact. Yeah, so focus on developing your area of strength with the highest level of impact and satisfaction. And I think this can inform our reflection this week, just to try to think about those areas that I feel are my vital few. For me and the team, when we engage on issue of leadership, the leadership is our vital few. And we focused on this, we have narrowed on this, doing a lot of research in this area so that we're able to be more impactful when we're engaging with the leaders, and also share credible knowledge, credible skills, credible cases out there. So it's our vital few, and I think all of us, we can be able to single out what is our vital few. And as I say, to do more, then we need to do less. To do more, we need to do less. To go up, we need to narrow down. So this is the challenge. And I think we can discuss this also in our breakout session. Look at this question, but also look at our book challenge for the week. So I'll want to pause there briefly. Then we'll have a short discussion. The discussion can be guided by our leadership challenge on page 19. And as well as the book review for this week. So I just want us to have a few minutes just to engage on this discussion, and I'll put us in breakout groups just to think about how was the book review and what are the key issues that came out. Probably 3 issues that came out from the book review, and again from the reflection of today's class. What are the key issues that are coming out clear in today's class to you as a group? So we can discuss this in team. I think we can have 3 groups. Just look at this, discuss these issues together, and then we come back and continue. Is that okay? Is that okay? You can give me a thumbs up if you are good and we are okay with that. Just give me an indication. Yeah, thank you, Mariam. Thank you, Nolan. Ben, Robert, Justus. Yeah, I can see we are good. So I'll create the breakout session for 10 minutes. So let's discuss how the book review experience was and what came out clear to you. Then as a group, you can summarize just a few areas that you can share with us in the plenary. And again, from today's sessions, what are the key issues that are coming out that you need to single out as leaders. So let's spend 10 minutes to discuss this, and then we'll be able to come back and continue. So you can click join and join the breakout sessions. So you can join your session, you can join your breakout session.
Being able to see the big picture as a leader. Sorry?
Yeah, it's okay. We can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mr. Macau. Please proceed.
Yeah, so we were just going through the first part of you. It was the
Yeah, we seem to lose.
and also it came out clearly from a purpose-driven leader who is able to know the when the mission is accomplished, and also being able to avoiding you smoothly to the next leader. We also able to see that a leader who has conviction of achieving something, and also there is also sacrifice in the success of a leader. We were trying to compare the two chapters, chapter 1 and 2. That is the philosophy. One of the things that we were discussing was a leader with comparing vision and philosophy, whereby the sorry. Just taking discussing on the beliefs, how to compare the beliefs, how beliefs form character. They were discussing the Pamela and David until your beliefs are acted. That is when they form the character. See more through, that is a quote. You see more through your beliefs than you see in your with your physical eyes. That is how far we could go. We could get. We are not able to go to the next part.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. David Macau and the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We appreciate the comments. Let's move on to room 2. Room 2, we had Bernard Mwangi, we had Justus and Nolan. So team 2, you can take it up.
Yes, hello.
Hello, Nolan.
Yes, in our group, we had technical issues, so it's like I discussed a lot.
Wow.
Still, yes.
Okay, you can share your experience, how the discussion
Still just say
was.
what we had. Yes. Okay, the first, the examples of leaders that were being quoted, and this is just if you have a purpose in what you're doing, somehow you will change a life somewhere and you'll be used as an example in one place or another. The example of Jesus, that is what I love so much. That is the model. Is the main model of leadership that we see and we have when we talk about purpose-driven leader.
and how he even you also have to do your and be what just be happy of what you have done and just say that indeed you have done is successful. Then another thing is that a leader, you will see, or rather you will reap your leadership your successors. So if you want to know that indeed you've succeeded, you will see the generation that you passed on the mantle and how they are doing it. Then you'll be able to gauge yourself as well. And then also, for a leader, you also have a clear vision of what you're doing, not just starting something without a direction, without a strategy. So you have to also know what you're doing and how you're doing it. Yes, and also the idea of mind and thoughts, and also their attitude to do or to lead well. And then the main one that I also saw in the book was about the leadership that is coming from within, and that leadership that we can talk of, that anything that is coming out of. So you have leadership, and you have to know how you're going to handle each and every leadership you are in a position to do. Yes.
Thank you so much, Nolan Milama. Probably I can also take a comment from Teacher Justus, now that it seemed maybe you also had your own discussion because of technical challenges.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, what cropped up was that we had some network issues. So at first we had a brief presentation. We had that issue. But then maybe I talk from the perspective of the today's class, that the key issues coming out. And I'll capture that performance is closely linked to the way a leader describes himself or herself. So the way you describe yourself, that's the way your performance will come out clearly to the people you are leading. So you describe yourself in a more positive way, then your performance will closely relate to the way you are describing yourself. And then effective will only require 20% effort, and then the output or the quality will be 80%. So went ahead to capture the types of the attitudes that we have, and I have narrowed down to the positive attitude as a leader. That's one core which we are supposed to work on, because it is keeping a positive mindset and thinking about the greater good, no matter the circumstances. Yeah, that was the key issues able to capture from today's class. Thank you.
Thank you, Teacher Justus, for that brief overview on today's discussion. We'll conclude with room 3. Room 3, we had Ben, Mariam, and Robert. So room 3, take it up.
Thank you so much. What really stood out in our book review is that there are 4 things that motivation is, there are 2 types of motivation, that is intrinsic and extrinsic. Those are some of the things that they motivate a leader. The other thing was purpose-driven leaders. They live for something. They live for a mission. They don't just do things anyhow. They sacrifice everything they have for their mission or the vision that they have. And the third thing is every person has something to offer in his time or for his generation. And just to summarize in all is that leadership is not about the next election, it is about the next generation. Because when we look about, for example, let us use our nation. At the moment, there are things that are happening in our nation, and the things that happen in our nation is about, people are talking about one of the keys that we are taking politicians more of leaders, but in real sense, they are not leaders, they are politicians. And that is why we are really failing, because when you're following politicians, their mindset is, it is generated toward the next election, but not towards the next generation. That is what came out from our book review.
Thank you so much, Ben and the team. Yeah, I think the intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So purpose-driven leaders are more driven by what we refer to as intrinsic motivation. That's the job satisfaction that we talked about, and also the issue of fulfillment and satisfaction, that you did the right thing regardless of the prevailing circumstances, and you stood for something. And I think, as you clearly said it, leadership is not about the next election. If we look at it from the context of probably the political environment. But again, we are also saying leadership is not about the next deal or the next position, but it's about the impact and the transformation that we are bringing within our environment. So we'll be discussing in this context in every session. So I think as we go through the book reviews, we'll just be picking out a few issues that we can engage in as a class. So we'll conclude with lesson 4 today, the core 4 leadership skills. So we're still looking at issues of awareness and some of the core skills that we need to single out as leaders, as we get to understand more about ourselves and more about what we need, or the areas that we need to enhance to be able to improve our leadership capacity. We looked at these pictures in the previous sessions, and we were able to single out a single statement for each of these leaders. And some of them were positive statements. For example, the third president, Kibaki, I think most of us could be able to remember him about the Vision 2030. Among the other achievements for Nelson Mandela, it's about the freedom fight, fight for freedom. Hitler, it's a negative memory in terms of the killing of the 6 million Jewish. Mother Teresa, we remember her for the positive work, the charity. For the second president, President Moi, we also remember him for both a mix of positive, depending with how we look at the situation. For the president of Zimbabwe, Mugabe, this one I think we tended to incline more to the negative, but still I'm sure there is some positive. For Wangari Maathai, the Green Belt movement, positive message came out very well. And then we were left with this unknown person who we said it is us. And I remember the comment by Pamela. Pamela said, what will be said of her when her photo flashes out? And that's what we are building even in this leadership, as we enhance our capacities. So as we enhance our capacity, these are the 4 areas that we need to look at. And this also we have benchmarked with other institutions that are doing well on issues of leadership. One of them is Center for Creative Leadership. And they are saying leaders at different levels, we need to learn and master these 4 main leadership skills. One is self-awareness, understanding my own strength, my own abilities, my own capacities. We look at the tools that can help us do this. Also communication, being an effective communicator, and also inspiring the people. We said if we embrace good communication, it creates energy, synergy, and also momentum, and also inspires. And then influence, being comfortable, persuading through action, through negotiations, promotion, and also delegating. And then the 4th quality is learning agility, know when to change course and help others to do so. So I'll just briefly highlight these areas. And for the self-awareness, I think the key issue is to be able to understand the vital few. The vital few. The vital few, those are the areas of strength. So you need to understand the strength that is based on SWOT analysis. Also understand my weaknesses, and self-awareness, we are saying, is critical for long-term effectiveness as a leader. So we will be undertaking a personal SWOT analysis as one of the exercise to be able to identify these areas. And I think SWOT is one of the best tools out there amongst the many others for self-discovery. And it will be able to help us to understand how to play around or maximize our strength, and also manage the weaknesses and convert those that can be converted to strength, as well as uncover opportunities for growth and eliminate threats that could keep us from moving forward. So that's a simplified way of looking at SWOT analysis for personal self-awareness. So the strength can go back as looking at education skills, maybe talents, the giftings. And when you're operating at your area of strength, this is very, very important. You will have 20% input and 80% output. We are saying you will use probably less effort, but have more impact because you are flowing. You are in sync with yourself. You are able to, actually you are passionate. So with little strength, then you are able to do more. For me, I always say when it comes to issues of speaking, equipping leaders, this is something you can do for as long as the opportunities are there and you feel re-energized to do it more and more. You flow. So it's important just to be in sync so that we maximize on the strength because they give us more energy and more impact. So opportunities, so we match and maximize the opportunities, looking at the trends out there within our areas of operation, and maybe the technology advancement that you can leverage, the networks, and also the collaboration opportunities. Those are what are the opportunities that we can be able to leverage. And then weaknesses, probably the negative work habits, the attitude that we have discussed, and also the personality traits that are not boosting or supporting your strength. So, and if you operate in your area of weakness, then you will spend 80% input to get 20% output or effort or impact. So I think that's important just to ask ourselves, am I in sync with myself? If I look critically, am I using too much energy and getting too little impact? So if that is happening, then this will be an opportunity to really reevaluate ourselves, reevaluate our alignment, and also recheck. Maybe there are areas that you are operating and you find you're doing well. It might not be the core areas of maybe of your profession or the leadership area that you are currently leading. Maybe there are other extra areas that you are flowing more. They can be indicators. So we need to check on this and see what can we convert, and also what do we need to probably delegate for others to manage, so that we don't spend so much time in our areas of weakness, especially those this is not about the attitude and not about personality traits. That should be areas that you can be able to delegate. Then threats, the obstacle probably in personal development. What are some of the threats that can hinder our performance? Maybe from the environment, and also even from personal threats that can prevent us from developing. So this, we need to manage them, or we need to eradicate them where possible. So from the self-awareness based on the strategy, so what we are saying, strength, build or enhance, or maximize, weakness, resolve, reduce, or delegate those particular areas. For the opportunities, exploit the opportunities, expand on the opportunities. For the threats, look at how to avoid them, look at how to manage them, or look at how to thwart them where possible. So strength and weakness are more internal, and then opportunities and threats are within our environment. So we are scanning both areas. And then we have the second tool for personal awareness, what we call the personality type, based on the personality color. I don't know if there is any of us in this team that knows their personality colors and probably what they mean. Anybody who has had an experience to just look at the personality colors and the qualities, and maybe you know where you are more inclined to. We can be a mix, but always one color will always be a dominant. Anybody who has a clue? Or anybody who has had an interaction just to be able to know their own?
I think I'm more of choleric comes.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so I think as I conclude this part, I think we can be able to indicate on the chart which color you are more inclined to. So let me first give an overview, and then as I give an overview, try to look at yourself. We are not saying that we are boxing ourselves to one color, but we are saying maybe one will always be dominant. It can be a mix, but one will always be dominant. So here it is. So we're saying for the blue, the single words, I'll first use the single words that we can use to describe the personalities. Just want to unmute here first so that we're able to hear each other well. Okay, so for the blue, they're saying, let's do it right. They believe in doing things right. Red, let's do it now. They believe in taking the moment now. Green, let's do it in a caring way. Believe of being more careful and also being more empathetic. For the yellow, let's do it together. They believe in teamwork. They are cheerleaders. They believe in being excited, among other qualities. So blue, again, we are saying more adventurous. Red, they are more passive and also aggressive. Green, more analytical. Yellow, they are caregiver. And that's why they believe in let's do it together. It's about caring for each other. Let's take it a little bit deeper. You're saying blue or cool blue, they are more cautious, and that's why we are saying let's do it right. Let's do it right. So they are more cautious, precise, deliberate, and also questioning and formal. Green, we said green about let's do it in a caring way, and also they are analytical, but additionally we are saying they are caring, encouraging, sharing, they are patient, they are also relaxed. Yeah. For the fiery red, we say let's do it now. They are passive and aggressive. Additionally, we are saying they can be competitive, demanding, determined, strong-willed, and also purposeful. For the yellow, let's do it together. Caregiver, Additionally, they are sociable, dynamic, demonstrative, they are enthusiastic, persuasive. They are like sunshine, and they believe that like we only live once. So they work and treasure the moments more. So those are just a brief, and I think we can take a more in-depth look at this, maybe at your own additional reading time, just to be able to internalize more. So that's a brief on the 4 colors. What is your dominant color? So your dominant color. You can share your dominant color on the chat. What's your dominant color? I can see, David, you're saying green. Yeah, green. So green, in brief, we said these are analytical, more analytical. Nolan, you're saying green also. Wow. Green also. Let's see the rest. Let's see the rest. Justus, you're saying green. David Macau, you're saying green. Pamela, you're saying yellow. We have a yellow here. We have greens. Greens are majority. Ben, you're saying blue. Let's do it right. Adventurer. Wow. Yes. So, Mariam, you're blue. Wow, blue. Blue, blue, blue. Okay. So we'll see this. Robert, you're saying also blue. We'll see this during the retreat. The retreat, the colors will come out quite well because we'll have a lot of outdoor activities. So that's one of the skill, and the skill of being more aware of ourselves. Then we have the communication, and we looked at this survey that was conducted by NBO Group. It's an Asian company, where it really indicated the gap in terms of communication, effective communication. And we are saying communicating information and ideas effectively is consistently rated amongst the most important skill for leaders, for successful leaders. So one of the key role of a leader is communication, because sometimes we have big vision, but we can't achieve them alone. So we need to communicate them. We need to work together with the people. We need to let people understand what we are seeing, because at times what you are seeing and what you have perceived, you may require some time just to help others catch up and be able to have a glimpse of what we are seeing. They may not see the whole picture, but they may have a glimpse. So that's why communication is very key, and it's embedded in participative and also collaborative and relational leadership. So emotional and social intelligence play a big role when it comes to issues of effective communication. So here, communication, we are talking about all this: the writing, clearly the speaking, the active listening, issues of building trust, conveying vision, strategic intent. I think those are the gaps that we have in the manual that you can fill. So John Maxwell, a very important quote here for us as leaders, that everyone communicates, but few connect. So the point that we'll be checking out in our communication, are we connecting with the people that we are engaging with? Are we getting the feedback that we anticipated? And that is an indication that we were able to communicate. He continues to say, people may hear your words, but they feel your attitude, as we had mentioned out. And as Steve Covey puts it very well also, seek first to understand, then to be understood. So seeking real understanding affirms the other person and what they have to say. I always encourage communicators that let's listen with the intent to understand, but not with intent to reply. Let's seek first with the intent to understand before I'm able to prepare my reply. There are times we listen and I think we are preparing for a reply, like we're just waiting for that person to pause and give a feedback. But I think that also doesn't really give us an opportunity to appreciate the other person's perspective, and also to really get the message behind the message that the person is trying to convey. So if I give time to digest and understand, then I may be able to clearly understand the perspective. So the third skill is influence, the influence. So I think leadership is shifting more from just looking at influence based on authority, but it's influenced based on the impact, influence based on these other qualities that we are building as leaders. So influence, working effectively with the people, and requires ability to sometimes present logical and compelling arguments, and engaging in give and take. Those are some of the ways that we can influence, and developing the skills so that we can be able to convey the vision or the goal, and aligning them with the efforts of the people that we are leading. So ultimately, we are saying influence allows a leader to get things done and achieve the desired outcome. So if you're looking at long-term vision, then influence, and that comes from logically presenting what we are seeing, helping people to unpack it and be able to internalize. There are words that we'll be using, which we refer to as inscribing. You inscribe the vision in you, you try to inscribe the vision in others, so that they can subscribe to the vision and to be able to subscribe to the vision. Yeah, so we'll unpack that as we'll be talking about the power of vision. So 3 ways to influence: logical appeals, emotional appeals, being able to connect your message, and then also cooperative appeals, being able to involve collaboration, consultation, and letting people be part and parcel of the discussions. So those are the ways that we can influence. And then finally, the other quality that we need to build, or a skill, is learning agility. So a leader's ability to be constantly in a learning mode. Leaders are lifelong learners. If you listened to the eulogy of the late Chris Kirubi, that is one of the quality that came out. Most speakers, they were able to single him out as a lifelong learners, that he bought books. He bought books. Every time he had an opportunity, he could get an extra book. So he was a lifelong learner. And I think that's why we see some of these people succeeding, because under the iceberg, there is that constant personal development. So we are saying learning agility, being in a constant learning mode, developing myself as a leader, being an active learning, which involves recognizing when I need to change, probably on behavior, skills, or attitude, and also accepting responsibility for developing myself. Yeah, so learning agility, look at learning from the mistakes, the insightful questions that we need to ask ourselves, and the people that maybe we are learning from, being open to feedback, picking out a new skill that I need to learn, and also taking advantage of opportunities to learn. So this learning agility, I think, is critical. It's critical to every leader to be able to remain in our leadership space. We say that when a leader stops learning, then we stop leading. So learning agility involves both creating a culture of learning and inspiring learning in ourselves and the people that we are leading. So that's just an overview, and I will encourage that we try to take some time just to reflect on the lessons that we have covered today. And that's why we, in the self-evaluation questionnaire, we always ask that question about revising or rechecking through the manual. So the understanding is that we'll be able to spend some little time again to look at the manual, the 2 lessons that we have studied today, look at the leadership challenge, and also being able to understand and undertake the leadership challenge. So this week, we encouraging all of us to undertake a personal leadership SWOT analysis and note areas for improvement and also areas for alignment. Yeah, areas for improvement and areas for alignment. Are there areas that you feel probably they are your strength, but maybe you haven't given them the necessary attention and the necessary resources to develop them? I think that's something that we need to check on so that we start building on it if we are not aligned as we are supposed to be. So we look at that SWOT analysis on page 23, and then we'll discuss more by next week. So I'll wish to pause here because I'm seeing already we already past our time, but I guess we've done quite well in terms of managing the lessons for today, and I hope we've been able to pick a few areas that we can improve as leaders, and also we can help our teams improve, and maybe a few concepts that we can share with our team in the coming week, so that this knowledge we're able to pass it over to the others. So I'll want to pause here and maybe just allow any comment or any takeaway or any final thoughts. Maybe I can ask with Robert. I can start with Robert Gitahi if there is any comment as we close.
Hello.
Yes, sir, Mr. Robert.
So I'm really grateful for the lesson, and I'm learning. I appreciate even being in a position to understand the key areas that we need to concentrate on our strength, the 20%, so that we can be able to deliver the 80%. That is our knowledge base, our skill, and our attitude. These are the areas of which we need to majorly concentrate on. We can be able even to deliver even in our jobs and leadership positions that we have been given. And also been challenged to analyze myself so that I can be in a position to know what are my strengths, what are my area of weaknesses, what are the areas of improvement that I need to improve on. So I'll take up the challenge and do the analysis, analyze myself. Yeah, then I give a feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert, reminding us about the vital few. Yeah, Ben, any comment?
Thank you so much for the lessons. I've learned a lot, and I believe whatever I've learned, I'm going to implement.
Okay, thank you so much, Ben. Mariam.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph, for the wonderful training today. I've learned a lot, that there is a lot that is done behind or underneath that we don't see, that is the 80%. And only what we are able to see is the 20%. So there is a lot of work that is done underneath. And it doesn't have to be like the work that you do is what gives, you don't have to really work so hard to be able to get much output. You just need to really work on your attitude and your mindset, and it will be very easy for you to really get the 80% that we desire to get. You can really use your 20% just to make an output of 80%. And also I've been able to learn that it is important as a leader to really do self-evaluation, and that communication is key in everything. That there are many times we just listen, but we don't connect. There are many times we just listen and we are out there to just give a feedback or be self-evaluation and also to do a lot of communication. Communication is key. I think that's what is my take.
Thank you so much, Mariam. Justus, I'll skip Bernard. I'll conclude with Bernard. Justus, any comment you can share as we close, and then I'll move on to Pamela. So
Yeah, hello everyone.
Yes, Justus, hello.
Yeah, I've really learned a lot, although came late, but on my better self-awareness and my strength and my weaknesses, and better myself for a greater tomorrow. Also, I have known that the bad attitude is like a flat tire, that the journey may not continue until it is changed. So I'm really thankful for the good lesson, and I really work on my leadership skills for a better tomorrow. Before I hand over the baton, I hand over a baton with a clear picture of what leadership is.
Okay, thank you so much, Justus. Let's move on to Pamela.
Okay. Thank you. Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Pamela, I can hear you well.
Okay, I've learned a lot this evening, and I have also just learned what they have learned. The colors, I think the type of leader that we are, and I realized that most of our classmates here are in the green group. I happen to be the only yellow, but when I looked at all the different colors, it's like we have different types of leaders, but all of them are still positive. So I think it has challenged me that I need to look around me. I need to study the different colors that are not my color, so that I get to appreciate different types of leadership. That is one, and maybe I have a request. The first time before, when I did not attend the class, there was a link that was sent and I was able to go through. How I wish you could send us links so that we can go through this lesson again.
Yeah, thank you, Pamela. I'll post the link.
Joseph, is that possible?
Yeah, I'll post the link tonight.
Including the previous one, please.
Okay, I'll post all of them.
If it is possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pamela.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I think the colors are good for understanding ourselves and also understanding the people around us, so that we are able to position them well and also understand them from where they are coming from in terms of their qualities. Nolan?
Yes, thank you so much. Today I've learned a lot, especially on self-evaluation as a leader and as an individual. But the thing that I loved so much was the core leadership skills, especially the communication part of it, that we don't just have to talk, but sometimes you have to really work on our attitude first before speaking or making people, or rather communicating with people. And then also we have to connect with people, not just communicating. Communicating is a large word or rather large thing to do, but sometimes before, or rather for you to see that communication is successful, you have to really connect with people around you as a leader.
Thank you so much, Nolan. Let's move on now to David Okello.
Hello. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much, Joseph, for this session. and it's profound. What I've learned is that good, but not good enough. There's need for a leader to evaluate him or herself, the 360 degrees. Having looked at the 80-20 rule more, I can see that the skill sets consist only of knowledge, but looking at the base where we have the kind of a behavioral kind of a set, where we have more so the attitude. And what I've learned is that we need to leverage on these strengths of the base of the 80 to become a good leader. I would like to just echo something on attitude, is that attitude direct, it has been stated. And what I can say is that I've learned is while attitudes can have a powerful effect on a behavior, they are not set in stone. The same influences that lead to attitude formation can also create attitude change. So I think that attitude is important, more so where leadership is required. It contributes to the 80% of it. Attitude matters a lot. It makes a better leader. So once again, thank you so much. And
Okay. Thank you so much, David, and everyone. I'm going to post a link where we'll be able to undertake our own self-awareness. That link will give you more details about yourself. So there are questions that you will respond to. And then at the end, it will give you a summary. And you can go through the summary. And maybe we can discuss that in the next class. So I also encourage all of us, please let's undertake the weekly self-evaluation and feedback. So immediately I post that link, please go through it, submit the comments. We normally look at those comments, they help us so that we see if there are areas we need to keep on improving. So, and then I'll share this link for the YouTube so that we are able to be at par. And also feel free to continue making your payment little by little through the pay bill number so that we will be flowing in everything. Otherwise, thank you so much. We have an alumni who may just say hi and then we close with a word of grace together. So Mr. Bernard Mwangi, if you can say hi to the team, please do so.
Leaders, I salute you all. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you for allowing me into your class. Hello.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing. But I always take time to join the classes that are ongoing, just to refresh a bit. Personally, I had a challenge before joining the generational leaders. I never had a culture of reading, but after I have developed that culture in the course of time. Personally, I normally go through various sites in the website just to broaden, encourage you to keep Googling various sites so that you can have a broader idea of what we are going through. What we are learning is just a bit expand on the same. I am encouraged by your learning agility. That is one of the four leadership skills that we have just done. And the fourth item, learning agility, you have really expressed it from your comments that we have just had. And I wish to encourage you to continue on. Generational leadership let's continue learning and unlearning so that we become better leaders of tomorrow. We keep networking. I'm sure in the course of this, I'll be able to network with some of you so that we can keep sharing. So learning is very key, and it will help us to grow and help others also to grow in our areas of operations. Otherwise, I wish you well, continue networking, continue learning and unlearning so that you become wiser, you get more knowledgeable, and then we'll be able to help those who are coming after us. Otherwise, thank you and wish you well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me this opportunity. Good evening.
Thank you so much. You can hear the language of an alumni.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the language of an alumni. The concept, the terminology is what we are learning, but now in practice, so we're grateful. So I think we can unmute and then we just conclude by sharing the words of grace together. So let's unmute. Okay, may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ,
Our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God,
And the fellowship
the Holy Spirit,
fellowship of the Holy Spirit,
now.
now and forevermore.
Amen. Amen. So have a good night. Those who are in Kisumu, those who are in Nairobi and other places,
Good night.
have a blessed night.
You too have a blessed night. Good night.